Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good day to you. Depending where you are in the world, we're doing a nighttime devotion from the devotional Maranatha. The title today, Study the Subject of the Sanctuary. Daniel 8:14, and he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. We should be earnest students of prophecy. We should not rest until we become intelligent in regard to the subject of the sanctuary, which is brought out in the visions of Daniel and John. This subject sheds great light on our present position and work and gives us unmistakable proof that God has led us in our past experience. It explains our disappointment in 1844, showing us that the sanctuary to be cleansed was not the earth, as we had supposed, but that Christ then entered into the most holy apartment of the heavenly sanctuary and is there performing the closing work of his priestly office in fulfilment of the words of the angel to the prophet Daniel. The 2,300 days had been found to begin when the commandment of Artaxerxes for the restoration and building of Jerusalem went into effect in the autumn of BC 457. Taking this as the starting point, there was perfect harmony in the application of all the events foretold in the explanation of that period in Daniel 9:25 to 27. The 70 weeks, which is 490 years, were to pertain especially to the Jews. At the expiration of this period, the nation sealed its rejection of Christ by the persecution of his disciples, and the apostles turned to the Gentiles in AD 34. The first 490 years of that 2,300 days, even having then ended, 1,810 years would remain. From AD 34, 1,810 years extend to 1844. Then, said the angel, shall the sanctuary be cleansed. Our faith in reference to the messages of the first, second, and the third angel's message was correct. The great waymarks we've passed are immovable, although the hosts of hell may try to tear them from their foundation and triumph in the thought that they have succeeded, yet they do not succeed. These pillars of faith stand firm as the eternal hills, unmoved by all the efforts of men combined with those of Satan and his host. We can learn much and should be constantly searching the scriptures to see if these things are so. So, studying the subject of the sanctuary. Now, I have personally done a lot of study on this, and especially prophecy, and especially the book of Daniel. So, where it's mentioned about the 2,300 days prophecy and the 1,810 and the 490, all of that is very, very relevant. And everything, as the Bible said, happened to the exact year as it said it would. There is a prophetic timeline which shows all the events that happened at the specific years when the Bible said they would happen. So it is completely true. I've studied it. I've looked into it myself. So I can say, yes, this is correct. It is absolutely true. It mentions so for those who don't understand, I'm not going to go fully into it, but there was a prophecy that for 2,300 in the Bible it says days, 2,300 days. Now, when it comes to prophetic timelines, prophecy, Bible, anything when prophecy mentions days, it equates to years. So something that's prophesied for 10 days, that would be 10 years. So hence 2,300 days here in the Bible equates to 2,300 years. So in the specific days are, you got a 2,300 day timeline. There was 490 mentioned, and then there was 1,810. All of that happened as it said it would, when Artaxerxes made the decree to go and rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. And then 490 years later, that's when, if I remember correctly, Stephen was killed. And the message then went out to the Gentiles. So there was 1,810 years. And that brought us to 1844, which is the time for the church at that time who were studying prophecy. They did think that meant Jesus was coming back. And that was 1843, in fact, when they thought Jesus would return. But they were wrong, because they then realized Jesus has gone into the most holy place in the heavenly sanctuary, and to this date from then, he is cleansing the sanctuary, meaning he is judging every single human being that has ever lived, starting from Adam and Eve. And that is still happening now as we speak. Yeah, time is short, very, very short. I would fully encourage you to study the book of Daniel and go on to study Revelation. There are studies online you can look up that would help you. There's a book by a guy called Patrick Jones, who did a study for both Daniel and Revelation. You could look his books up. They're very good and they're very detailed. So that is it. And tomorrow we will actually discuss cleansing of the sanctuary. Have a good night.